So if you find yourself in a situation where this friendship, partnership, anything is not new anymore and you miss an opportunity to set boundaries in the beginning, this video is for you. Hey y'all, it's your girl Adore Asia and I'm back with another video. And today we're going to be talking about those boundaries that you should be setting that you're probably not, and why we should set boundaries and how we can set boundaries effectively. So first and foremost, boundaries need to be clear, not just for the other person, but also for yourself, so that you have a ground to stand on when your boundaries are crossed, so that you can also recognize when somebody is crossing a clear boundary that was placed, and that you are clear with yourself on what you will and will not tolerate and the course of action that you take when a boundary is crossed. It takes out the guesswork of what needs to happen. Of course, every situation can have its nuances, but it is so very imperative that you stay true to yourself, because that is most important, regardless of how it makes other people feel, because you're living your life, not theirs. You need to look out for you, because at the end of the day, nobody has your back like you do. It is especially hard to set new boundaries in an already established and existing relationship. So if you find yourself in a situation where this friendship, partnership, anything is not new anymore and you miss an opportunity to set boundaries in the beginning, this video is for you. Setting boundaries is crucial for maintaining a healthy relationship, self-respect, and personal growth. Some reasons why boundaries are important is: 1, it protects your physical and mental and emotional well-being. It helps protect you from physical and emotional harm. And when you set boundaries, you are communicating with others what you will and will not accept. 2, you are respecting your time and energy. You're going to make sure that you are not overextending yourself and saying yes to every single person that asks for your help, because your time is valuable, as well as your energy, because if you're here saying yes to everybody, what energy do you have at the end of the day for yourself, for your family? That's a clear boundary that needs to be set. You prioritize your time and energy for things that matter most to you. 3, it helps build your self-esteem, believe it or not. When you set boundaries, you demonstrate that you value yourself and your needs. This can help boost your self-esteem and your confidence, because you're standing in your beliefs, you're standing in your values, and you're staying true to that. And the only choice other people have is to respect that. And also, to piggyback on that, because you are standing firm in your beliefs and your values, and other people will see that, and they will see that confidence in you. And even if they disagree with your sentiment, they will respect you for you being true to yourself and your values. 4, it can help with improving your communication skills. Setting boundaries requires very clear communication. This can help you express your thoughts, feelings, and expectations effectively, leading to overall better communication in all of your relationships. And piggybacking off of the note I made on number 3, number 5 is establishing and maintaining healthy relationships. Setting boundaries can help you build your trust and respect from other people, which can strengthen the relationship that you already have. Now that we touched on why setting boundaries is important, we're now going to talk about how to go about creating your boundaries and communicating your boundaries. Number 1, identify your values and your priorities. Take some time out and identify what's important to you, where you are willing to draw the line, where no one can cross over. What is important to you? What are your values? What are your beliefs? This will help you establish boundaries that align with your belief system and your values, so that you don't go astray and that you can stand firm when a boundary is crossed and in setting that boundary. Number 2, communicate your boundaries. Once you have personally identified what your boundaries are and why they are in place, it is important to communicate them clearly and assertively to others. Be specific about whatever behaviors or actions that are unacceptable and the consequences of violating your boundaries, okay? Be very clear when you are communicating what those consequences might be when people violate your boundaries. Because this is a serious matter. This is not for play, okay? This is your well-being. If someone is doing something that makes you uncomfortable and you have communicated that boundary, but you're not setting forth consequences for their actions, they're gonna keep on doing it. And it's disrespectful, and at a certain point, it's abuse if you're violating my boundaries. But you also have to hold up your end of the deal and follow up with the consequences, okay? 3, practice saying no. No. This word is very important when it comes to setting boundaries. Because if you are ever in a situation, personally, professionally, where you are asked to do something and it doesn't align with your values, with your morals, with your beliefs, with who you are as a person, you need to be able to say no. Politely say no the first time. Because if somebody is trying to pressure you to do something, that's a whole nother story. But you politely say no, and while an explanation is good to reinforce why that boundary is in place, I believe it is also important to note that no is a complete sentence. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. 4, prioritizing self-care. This boundary, I think, is a little more targeted to yourself. This is a boundary that you place within yourself because it's like, okay, yes, work is important, bills need to get paid, etc., etc. But if you don't have any boundaries where work ends and your personal time, your self-care begins, you are violating yourself. So you need to prioritize self-care when setting your boundaries. This includes taking the time to do things that help you recharge, relax, and to do things that make you happy, that bring joy to your life, okay? Because we're aiming for a better quality of life here on this channel, okay? All right. We want to be fulfilled in life. And if you're not able to set boundaries, you're not going to be able to be fulfilled. Number 5, be consistent. Setting boundaries requires consistency. Consistency is key when setting boundaries. Stick to your boundaries and enforce them consistently, even if you feel uncomfortable or if it's inconvenient. You need to be your own advocate, and you need to be able to stand up for yourself and speak up. The thing about boundaries is that it's not about the other person, it's about yourself. And in setting those boundaries, the other person will either respect them or violate them. And you need to be able to be consistent in your reactions to both people respecting your boundaries and both people violating your boundaries. And of course, 6, you always know you gotta seek support when it's needed. So if you find that it's hard to enforce a boundary or to follow up with consequences if somebody tries to violate your boundary, seek support. Seek out people who are close to you that you trust, your family, friends, a professional, a therapist maybe, so that they can help you realize why you've set your boundary and why it is important to enforce them. So that was my word for today, because as you get older, you really realize that setting boundaries is very, very important. And if boundaries weren't set in the beginning of a relationship, any type of relationship, romantic, professional, friends, family, it can, I don't want to say ruin, but it can create obstacles in that relationship. But you need to be able to be confident and comfortable and trust yourself in order to say, you know what, I don't like this, and if it happens again, this is going to happen. You need to be able to be comfortable in communicating what you will and will not tolerate to that person, whether it is an established relationship or not. Because if you don't feel comfortable communicating a boundary within an already established relationship, it could be a couple things. 1, the person may not make you feel comfortable enough to express how you feel, that's a whole nother issue. But two, you may be too concerned about how they will react to your new boundary. We don't want to be concerned with, this is gonna sound cold, but we don't want to be concerned with other people's feelings when it comes to setting a boundary for yourself. And there's one last point that I need to make, because this is just as important as all the rest of the things that we spoke about in this video. It's okay to change your mind. You are not obligated to have the same values, the same beliefs for the rest of your life. You can change your mind. As with any other decision that we make in life, our beliefs, our values, our morals, our boundaries are based in whatever stage in life that you may be in, and whatever mindset you have at that stage in life. And as you know, your stages in life change, and so does your mindset. You learn new things, you unlearn things, you change as a person. Your identity is fluid, as we touched on last week. Your identity can be fluid, it can change, which also means that what is important to you changes as well. And if that change happens, that means your boundaries might change as well. Certain boundaries may become looser, some boundaries may become stricter or more intense, more detailed, more involved. But it is very important to be open and clear with your communication. In one, setting your boundaries, but in two, if your boundaries change, you need to be able to communicate that. And if someone is giving you shit for changing, then baby, you're not the issue. They are, okay? With that being said, your mind is your only limit. So if you're unable to set boundaries and communicate them, you're the only person that's stopping you. And that's all I have to say for today. Peace.